Good morning, students. Good morning, all of you. I hope you all are well and following the COVID instructions properly. So, before starting our next topic, I would like you to inform that you have to join your Zoom session beta. You all have to join your Zoom meeting, and the attendance will be marked according to that. So, be consistent and that Zoom meeting is only for you people, beta. This is for you to solve your queries, solve your doubts, okay? So be consistent there. I hope the teachers will get proper attendance of all of you, okay? So let's start with our next topic, that is alimentary canal digestive glands. Here, when we talk about stomach, here it is very important to talk about some very important digestive glands. So, one such digestive gland is liver. In fact, liver is the largest gland in the human body. So, gland, what is gland? It is any such organ, you can say, which secrete bile juice, which is stored in the gallbladder. Where it is liver? So, this is the liver. The red color structure which you see is the liver. And this liver is going to secrete bile juice, and bile juice is stored in a gallbladder. So here the green color structure which you see here is the gallbladder. Now what is the function of bile juice? This juice helps in the digestion of fats. So carbohydrate is done. Protein is also done in the stomach. So we are left out with fat. So the digestion of fat with the done with the help of bile juice, and it is stored in the gallbladder. So this juice makes the medium alkaline. Alkaline is just the opposite of acid. So you have something called acid, you have something called base. So base is nothing but alkaline. So it is basic in nature. So what does it do? It activates the action of pancreatic and intestinal enzymes. That is, these small intestine also release certain enzymes, and these intestinal enzymes need a basic environment. They do not want acidic environment for their function. Similarly, the enzymes which are secreted by the pancreas, just behind the stomach, you can see the green color structure. It is nothing but a pancreas. So pancreas also secretes some pancreatic enzymes. So all these enzymes help in the digestion of food. Okay. So basically bile juice will help to digest the fats and convert them into less complex form. And what about pancreas? It is the second largest gland. It secretes pancreatic juice. So the enzymes which is secreted by the pancreas, that is pancreatic enzymes, it contain all types of enzymes. Okay, it digests protein, starch as well as fat. Trypsin, which help in digesting protein. Pancreatic amylase digests starch, and pancreatic lipase, which helps in digestion of fats. So if you see, you might ask that you told that in a mouth itself the carbohydrate get digested by salivary amylase. So of course that carbohydrate digestion happen here, but it doesn't get completely digest there. Still it's some portion of remain undigested, and that function is performed by the pancreatic amylase. Okay. So now if you see here, the liver is connected to the gallbladder. Liver secretes bile juice. This is stored in gallbladder. So if you see here that there is a tube-like structure which is connected to the stomach. So basically this secretion of bile juice reaches this place, correct? So if you look at the pancreas, the green color structure behind, so that portion where the food comes in the stomach, at that region, both the pancreatic enzyme as well as bile juice, they also join that area. So basically the food particle is exposed to pancreatic enzyme and the bile juice. So that's how they come to the alkaline. So again digestion happen here, and then finally the food enter into the small intestines. So it is an orange color structure which is extremely coiled. So that is small intestine. It again is going to secrete a lot of intestinal enzymes. So food reaches from stomach to small intestine through sphincter muscles. This muscle is like which allows food to enter from stomach to intestine, but it doesn't allow the backward movement. It does not allow the backward movement of the food, whatever it is there. Okay. If you see in the small intestine, it is extremely coiled tube and it consists of three parts: duodenum, jejunum and ileum. So it has a common bile and pancreatic duct open here, U-shaped. Here you see from here, yes, from this part, there is the duodenum, U-shaped like structure. Here pancreatic duct is opening and bile duct is also opening. Okay. The next part is jejunum. This part is jejunum. You can see here. And finally the last part is ileum. So as you see, the width also keep decreasing. Okay. And small intestine is place where digestion happens because a lot of enzymes are released here also, like pancreatic enzymes along with the bile juice help in digestion, because this digestion also happen in the duodenum area. Okay. And beside this, the intestinal gland also secrete enzyme to digest carbohydrate, protein and fat. So if I try to sum up the entire process of digestion, started from mouth, salivary amylase convert, then it reached to the stomach where digestion happened. The pepsin digested the protein, then it reached to the duodenum, that is the first part of the small intestine where bile juice release and digests fat, and at the same time pancreatic enzymes, they also started digesting the leftover carbohydrate as well as the protein. So basically in small intestine, complete digestion happens. Whatever food has to be digested, they get digested in the small intestine. Okay. After small intestine, no further digestion happen. After this, what happens? Ingestion is over, digestion is over. The next step is absorption. So absorption also happen in the small intestine. Now in small intestine, there are some special hair-like structure called villi, which are present on the inner wall of the small intestine, and this hair-like structure help in the absorption. So you can see. Now let us suppose you have a surface like this and it has to absorb something. In another case, you have a surface like this and which you have thin hairs like structure. So each of overall surface area increases in this case. Therefore, the net absorption will also increases in this case. So same thing done in a small intestine also, because of the presence of large hair-like structure called villi. It helps us to absorb the food. So villi on one end, it absorbs the digestive food. On another end, they are connected to a blood vessels also. So that's how they pass the absorbed food to the blood vessels. Finally, the blood vessels need to carry the absorbed food to the different part of the body. So villi connect link between the absorbed food, that means the digested food is absorbed by the villi, and on the other end it is connected to the blood vessel, so that the food whatever it is absorbed, it send it to the other part, to the blood vessels. Okay. In small intestine, complete digestion of food take place and absorption also take place. So we are done with ingestion, digestion and absorption. Now the length of the small intestine varies from animal to animal depending upon their food habits, because now some animals eat more plants, more grasses. Now grasses contain more cellulose. So cellulose again take more time to get digested. For such animal, they have very long intestine, small intestine. But those who are eating flesh, it is easier to get digest. So those animals who are eating flesh, they have a small intestine, have very small, because small intestine performing one of the most crucial role in the entire process of digestion. Next comes the large intestine. What does the large intestine do? This green color structure which you see here, that is large intestine. So here happens the egestion part. Egestion means the undigested food need to be sent out of our body. All the food that remain undigested, that is passed into the large intestine. So this large intestine, if you look at its width, it is wider than the small intestine. Small intestine is quite narrow compared to the large intestine is wider. This is also divided into two parts, the colon and the rectum. Colon is an inverted U-shaped structure. So this part is colon. Starting from here till here, this inverted U-shaped structure. This is colon, okay. And what is rectum? Rectum is this cervical part, terminal part where all the excess water. So whatever is undigested that come into the large intestine and it passes to the large intestine, all the water from that food is absorbed, because water is essential for our body. Our body is always have enough water, but because if there is no enough water, it causes dehydration. So undigested food is absorbed in this portion and then it is secreted out through the anus in the form of feces. So that is why the feces which is given out of our anus, that is solidified, because all the water has already been absorbed by the large intestine. So this is how the entire process of holozoic nutrition takes place in case of human being. Now let us have a quick review whatever we have discussed in the entire process of nutrition in humans. It was a complex process, I agree, but I hope that you have been able to touch up. Now process start with our mouth. Through mouth, ingestion. Through mouth, what happened? Intake of food, ingestion. Now when it enter into the mouth, now here it is saliva which secretes salivary amylase, and this salivary amylase help in the digestion of carbohydrate. After that, here come the pharynx. This pharynx is a common pathway. It sends the food into the food pipe, which is the esophagus. Now food pipe send the food to the stomach. Once the food reaches the stomach is the HCl is present there, which make the environment acidic. In that acidic environment, the enzyme pepsin become active and it help in the digestion of protein. Okay, it breaks down the complex protein into the less complex protein. Okay, simplest protein you can say. Now this partially digested food then enter into the small intestine. First part of small intestine is duodenum. In this duodenum, there are two ducts. One is coming from pancreas, and this is the pancreas, the hidden green color structure, and through the pancreatic duct, pancreatic enzymes are released into the duodenum. Similarly, here you have liver, and liver secrete bile juice. It secrete bile juice which is stored in the gallbladder. Now through this bile duct, the bile juice will also be secreted into the duodenum. So the bile juice make the environment inside the duodenum alkaline, and this alkaline environment will activate the pancreatic enzyme and the intestinal enzyme, that is the small intestinal enzymes, and this enzyme will further help in digestion of carbohydrate, protein as well as fats. So complete digestion takes place in the small intestine. Also, there are hair-like structure called villi which is present in the small intestine, and they help in the absorption of the digested food. And then the absorbed food is just passed through the blood vessels and assimilation of food take place. Finally, the undigested food is passed through onto the large intestine. So this is the large intestine, all these parts. Here all the excess water have been absorbed, and finally the undigested food is throughout through the anus in the form of feces. So that's how the entire process of nutrition works. Now let us look at the nutrition in some animals which primarily feed on grass, because I told you just now that different substances have different organism have a different fooding habit, and the different food items have different nutrients content. Now some food items are easily digested, some food items are difficult to get digested. So grass is again one such food item which contain a lot of cellulose, and cellulose is not very easy to be digested. So we will see how those animals which eat mostly grass, how do they undergo the process of digestion. Now when we talk about grass eating animals, so the first few animals that comes to your mind would be cow, deer, goat. So they are the primary grass eating animals. Cows, buffaloes, goats. So you will see that they most feed on, not mostly, they only feed on plants. They don't feed on flesh and anything else. So here we are interested to see that how these animals are able to digest the cellulose. What is special in these animals? Because it is something which cannot be digested by human being. That is why human beings do not depend on plants or grasses primarily. We do eat some part of the plant, but we eat other stuffs also, like cereal, flesh, many other pulses and all those stuffs. Okay. So these animals are able to digest cellulose. So have you ever seen a cow that sometimes even if there is no grass in the surroundings, still sometimes you will see that they start chewing something inside its mouth. If you closely observe how a cow eats, you will see that what they do is, when they are eating grass, they quickly swallow it for the time being. But again after some time, the same grass which it had already swallowed, it goes back inside their mouth and it's chewing repeatedly. And that's how their process of digestion is little different from ours. Okay, so here in this section we are actually trying to see what is the difference in the digestive system of the grass eaters. So if you look at this picture, so they also have a food pipe which is esophagus, and they also have a small intestine. So the coil tube like structure. But if you see here, between the esophagus and small intestine, they have a sac-like structure that is called rumen. And this rumen is not present in case of human being. And this rumen play a very important role in the digestion of cellulose. Now what happens is, when a cow eat grass, initially it just take the grass insidely, quickly swallow it. When it swallow it, what happen? This grass goes to the rumen. It passes through the esophagus, and then instead of getting into the small intestine, it goes to the rumen. And it remains stored in the rumen temporarily for some time. Okay. Now, after some time, this grass, the partially digested grass, it is called cud. Okay, the partially digested grass is called cud. So cud is the term which is used for the partially digested grass. This cud is brought back to the mouth. Same cud is again brought back to the mouth, and then the cow chews it again. And this process of chewing is called rumination. You can say rumination. Rumination, that means bringing the partially digested food back to the mouth, where it is chewed again by the animal. And this is how the cellulose get digested, because you are actually repeating the process of digestion 2 times, and that repetition is possible due to the presence of this extra sac-like structure called rumen, which temporarily store the partially digested food. But in case of human being, once the food reaches to the stomach, it goes to the small intestine and it cannot come back to the mouth. So in one cycle, the cellulose cannot be digested because it is little difficult to get digested. Now this cellulose, then when it remains under rumen, what happen is, in the rumen there are certain bacteria which are present, in the rumen, and these bacteria act on a cellulose, and they help in the digestion of cellulose. If in human being there is no bacteria, there is no rumen, so digestion of cellulose cannot be digested by a human being. So this is how the digestive system of grass eater. So the digestive system of grass eater are different from that of human being. So they are specially designed to digest the cellulose. They have a large rumen present between the esophagus and small intestine. So this is all about the grass eating animal, and so this is all about chapter number 2, nutrition in animal. And I hope you all understand this chapter. If there is any confusion in any topic, you can ask me in your Zoom class and in your class group also. Okay. Thank you, students.